Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living and thanks again for joining us today. Today I'm going to be doing some planting of various things, but the first thing I'm going to plant is in this barrel in the backyard because I've got some space, is the bottoms of green onions. I keep reading that you can plant them and they'll just sort of cut and come again, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. So stay tuned. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think, is just go ahead and just put some holes around here so that I bury them. And I'm just going to plunk in one at a time, and I'm going to cover it with maybe about a ½ inch of soil on top. This has been amended already with a little bit of worm castings and fir mulch. And it's a pretty quick job here. I'm really excited to see if this works because we do like to eat green onions, and hey, if they'll regenerate and I can just come out and pick whatever I want, that's going to make life pretty handy. I'm just going to go around the edges because it'll look kind of pretty as it's growing. And I put the roots down and the like that, and the growth side up so it'll grow properly. Soil is nice and warm today. We had about a ½ inch of rain yesterday, and today the birds are chirping and singing, and just it feels wonderful outside. So it is a good day to plant, and we are 2 weeks away from our frost date in zone 9B. So I'm pretty comfortable planting things at this point. I can cover up anything if I need to. And that, my friends, is it. This soil is still kind of wet, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it the way it is. Now let's go back and check out the other gardens. All right, so clearly I have a lot of weeding to do around the outside of the beds where we don't have anything planted. We're probably going to plant some flowers and things that are going to attract pollinators this year. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and just let it go. So today we're going to plant some radishes, probably a couple of different types. We're going to plant some beets and probably some turnips and possibly some spinach. But I think I'm going to put spinach over in the pea bed actually. So we'll just kind of see as we move along here. JJ and I really do like beets a lot. So I think I want to have at least 3 or 4 rows of beets, a couple rows of radishes, and a row or 2 of turnips. I've never cooked turnips, so I don't want to grow so many and then find out that I don't like them as much as I thought I did. So I do like them raw because they're like a mild radish, but I don't know if growing them is really going to be as important as growing things like beets that we really do like. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my handy dandy seed case and get started. Before we go too much further, I want to show you this really neat idea that we saw on another YouTube video last year when we were starting to purchase all of our seeds and organize them in a way that made it easy to take it out to the garden and just keep everything in one nice dark and cool place in the house. We got it on Amazon, and I think it's like for film or pictures or something, but it has this, you can carry it around if you need to, and it has individual packet or holders. And so you can see that a little bit there. Okay, so I just made labels for them, and what's in there. And then like in this bean thing, we've got several different types in here, but they're just so easy to just grab one out if that's all you're doing, or just bring it out. So I am going to start with beets. One of my favorite beets are Detroit Reds. So I'm definitely going to be getting some of those out. These golden beets are absolutely delicious. And they make for a really pretty arugula and beet salad if you have different colors. So I'm definitely going to plant some of those. I've already done some Detroit Reds before, so they're clipped closed. Let's see what we got here. Here's a rainbow mix. I think we'll go ahead and we'll do some rainbows because these are pretty cool. They have the neat little colors inside, and you know, it's kind of fun when your food is as pretty as it is delicious. Okay, so I just am checking the back of the packet that has seed depth planting instructions and other information. And it looks like these are going to be mature in approximately 65 days. So right around the beginning to middle of April, we should be having some fresh beets. That being said, I like to do a little bit of succession planting because we don't want, 18 bunches of beets all at one time coming up. It is just the two of us, and we do plan on canning some beets this year, but I think that I'm just going to start with some now, and then in probably about a month, I'll plant some more because they do stay in the ground pretty well and stay preserved. Again, we're going to go a 1/2 inch deep, and I'm just going to use this trowel. And it's approximate, okay? Beets are pretty forgiving. If you've never planted them before, they really are very forgiving. So I know I'm gonna do like 3 different types. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get these 3 rows ready. That's roughly 4 inches apart as far as the rows go. All right, so there's one really important thing that I want to let you know, okay? Some people are extremely economical with their seeds, and God bless them for that. But some of these packaged seeds don't have the greatest germination rate, and I do have a few extra packets. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 seeds in every hole, or, in every planting. So you can choose to just do 1 at a time, or you can do 2 or 3. And although root vegetables don't like to be disturbed after being planted, if you had a clump of 3 and they all look pretty good, you could go in with a pair of tweezers, pull them out, and then just replant the other beets in a different row. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the golden beets first. And I'm putting about 3 seeds in every hole. Next to these, I'm going to put in Detroit Reds. I'm just going to go down the row and put them in. We'll come out in a couple of weeks and I'll show you when they've sprouted. And we'll make a decision at that point as to, whoa, got 5 in that bad boy. Loosely covering them with the soil that I already did. I'm going to put these back in here, and we're going to use a paper clip to fold it over before we put them away so that all of our beet seeds don't get mixed together in that little container that we're going to use. That would not be good. Next, I'm going to be going ahead and doing these Detroit Reds, Detroit Dark Red specifically. These are heirloom seeds, I need to mention, because heirloom vegetables just really taste better, and it's good to keep things like this going. All right, and now I am going to plant the 3rd row of beets, which is going to be this gourmet blend of jewel-toned beets, and then we will move on to the next row. Okay, so like I was telling you, the best thing to do, and I've learned this from mistakes in the past, the best way to secure this before putting it back in there, don't think you're going to do it later, is to just fold those edges over a little bit and put a paper clip on it. I like these little coated paper clips. They're pretty and fun. And we'll put these back and move on to the next row. And here is going to be an executive decision. We're going to go ahead and just plant radishes in the rest of this 4x4 bed because we have so many different types of radishes, and I've tried a couple of them. These heirloom cherry bells grew really well last year, and I usually plant them when it's warmer. So this is really kind of a science experiment. We also planted these watermelon radish because they're super cool looking, but they didn't really germinate very well last year. So we're going to give it a shot and see what we get. So it'll be a row of those. And then I'm going to do French breakfast because they're longer and they just look like they might be kind of good for slicing and even maybe putting it on a sandwich. Then I'm going to do these black Spanish radishes just because they look really cool. Look at that, dark on the outside and then that creamy center there. So I'm curious to see how spicy they are and everything else. And finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to plant these German giant radishes. I've never seen them anywhere and I haven't grown them. So depending on how big they're supposed to be, it says here that they could be, it doesn't say. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to get them confused with beets. I know that the greens will be different, but if they're really big, I just really want to know the difference. So let's get to planting. Thank you for joining us this afternoon as we planted some early season root vegetables to see how they're going to do. One more thing that you need to remember to do, especially when you have multiples in a bed, is get yourself something to mark every row. These are some inexpensive plastic tabs that you can buy. I wrote on it with a Sharpie. They're reusable. You could also use a popsicle stick. And if you like this video, please subscribe and hit the bells to make sure that you get notified when we have new videos coming out. Share this with your friends. And as always, please like it if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like this. Have a great day and thanks for visiting Big Valley Living.